Hi YouTubers, how you doing tonight? I'm pretty good. Not bad. Well anyway, here's a nightmare. Everywhere I go is a Masonic lodge in every town and their affiliates. So you can't really get away from the witchcraft. So if they want to do something to you, they're gonna. So my renter Gary moved out to go home to be with his future wife Barbie, and they had their child. I decided to take in a renter that somebody had recommended for me. Her name was Mary Sorensen. Mary was pregnant with twins. She had two kids at home and one that she brought with her to my home, and her husband gave her a ride there. I thought they were breaking up because of the stress of having more children and living out in the mountains and whatnot. Little did I know at that time that they were affiliated with the Illuminati. So I had a little baby, 30 days old, and I was working in the antique store. On this day in particular, the only phone to my access was about a mile away at the store outside, and it was freezing cold out. It was still in January, our coldest weather. If I get cut off, I'll be back. I'll make it a part two of my nightmare. Um, so Uh, okay, I'll make this as quick as I could. So Mary wasn't feeling good. She was pregnant, and I had just had mine. And so she rented my room, and Michael, her little 4-year-old, I would make him food when I was eating myself because my baby wasn't eating yet. And if Mary was taking a nap or something, I just let her rest because I knew what, and I couldn't imagine twins. That was like crazy. So one day when she was in there napping and Michael was in there and I know he was awake and she would nap, I was going to knock on the door and peek and say, "Do you want a PBJ that I made?" And I knocked on the door and I heard, something I didn't know. I thought it was come in, so I did. And she was having oral sex on her 4-year-old boy. Well, I was floored. I told Mike, "Get up and sit on that couch and don't move." And I told her, "Don't you dare come out of this room till I decide what I'm going to do here." And I told that little boy, I said, "I'll take care of you." I said, "Just don't move." So I got him a sandwich and gave him a milk. And I usually don't let kids eat in the living room, but this was a little different. So I decided, what can I do? I have no car, I have no phone. I didn't know what to do. So my baby was sleeping and he had a fresh diaper on him, and it was towards evening time. And I went in there and I told her, I said, "You're free to go to the bathroom, do what you got to do." And the bathroom was off of my room where my baby was, because there was like from the master bedroom and another door. I said, "But if there's one hair touched on my child, if his diaper has been disturbed, if anything, if he's awake when I come back, I can't be sure what I'm going to do to you." So I went and I got a hold of the authorities. And it took forever for them to get there. So I went back home and Lukey was okay. He was still sleeping. I practically ran with stitches and I was bleeding still. So I got home and it was later at night. All of a sudden, her husband comes to the door and he's mad at me, and the cops are with him. They take her and they go back to their house on the mountain, and nothing was ever done about it. In the meantime, I'm still there alone with a baby, taking him back and forth to the antique store, so it must have been on the weekend. And I finally got a hold of the dad. He was working in Watford City at the oil field, and because they kind of moved around if there wasn't a lot of work. Well, that was the excuse anyway. He just wasn't a husband or a father. So there is my nightmare of part of the Illuminati getting away with whatever they want to do in their lives. And I don't know exactly what had happened if she had continued to live there. I'm not even sure if anything happened while she was there. That's the hell of it, and that's the sickening part. So that's just one story of stuff I've been through. and it's Illuminati affiliated. So that's one. I could not believe they just got in the car together and went back to their mountain. And then, and then later my friend come and told me, like, oh, couple 2 or 3 days later, that the reason she had come and rented a home from me is because she was acting like that up on the mountain, and her husband wanted to find her a place, thinking that a separation would, I don't know what it's all a bunch of crap, so unbelievable. So she had been doing it for God knows how long, and he sent the boy she was abusing with her. When I met the people, she was kind of odd towards my ex, and I thought, oh well, she's separating and he's good looking, so what the hell ever, I don't care, and he was acting weird to me, and I thought, well, they're separating, so whatever, act how you want. I mean, I didn't respond or anything. I just thought it's very odd, but I guess I understand if they're going to be separated that maybe they're looking elsewhere in life. I don't know. But I don't know. It sure was a bad experience. And it was a nightmare, and it was Satanistic directed. See, the thing is, before things happen, God tells me, and then during it, he's telling me that he told me not to get too upset and how to handle it. It's very odd like that. And now I literally do know things a bit ahead of time because he just lets me know. Like if somebody's going to be a little bit cruel, he'll say, well, I may not know who, but I know that there is something there at that moment. So that's kind of like a protection of sorts. So, of sorts, So, yeah. And it truly was a nightmare running up to that phone, leaving my baby there. And I didn't have a choice. That was one of the worst days of my life. One of them. So, yeah. Anyway, that's probably about that on that one. There's actually a part two to that. Well, I guess not really. Not really. Um, Individually with her, that part of the nightmare was over. But I was still there in this big house that was haunted with a little baby, and um, financially not doing well, trying to run a house by myself. So, yeah, I went and got some coal. There was a coal furnace, so I went and got aid for coal to heat the house, and yeah, not very cool, but that's the way it goes, I guess. But yeah, I had never used coal before to heat, and there was a conveyor belt, and I couldn't go down there and start it up when I was pregnant. So I literally hired somebody to come in, a guy that I knew, a friend, and to come in and load it up in the, well, I didn't have to handle it, just start the conveyor belt, and they dumped it outside and it would come in the basement, and then you start up the conveyor belt and it would feed it into the furnace. So yeah. So yeah, there was a bit of a back porch and a basement on that place, and a laundry room, and a nice backyard with a old apple tree that needed lots of help. So yeah, it was a nice house. That and the little old lady that owned the antique store were the only good things about that town. Well, where I camped out at first, the Musselshell River was very beautiful, and I actually swam when I was pregnant too, so I kept pretty healthy, walking, swimming, work, and all that stuff. So yeah. Anyhow, yeah. Still wonder about them kids. I mean, when you call the police and they won't help, what do you do? you know, and that's a serious situation. That's really, um, all my life I've been around this crazy shit, and That's why I sound a little radical. Hey, I'm a little radical, you know. These assholes want to rattle me. Well, reap what you sow, you know. That's my opinion. So somebody might disagree with me, but I would have to say that you're either affiliated or you're a pedophile yourself. So if you oppose or have any weird words to anything I say, I don't care. You know, I wish you all the best. That's all I can say. I'm not saying I'm the only parent that's ever gone through these things, but I am saying that the mass quantity of the things is a little unusual. So